Yeah. Yeah. I had a really good time. It was nice.
Where
Good
were you?
stuff.
I went to Nova Scotia
Oh,
for,
of
for,
course you had lobster. Yum.
well, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, it was good.
Hello, Ken. How are you? I don't know if you're mute or not. Hey, Dean. Good day. All right. Let's see. Let's wait a couple more minutes. Another minute. It's 11:01 now. Have you been in vacation, Dean, as well?
No. Well, my wife was off for a bit. We just did like local trips and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, the summer, the weather's been great.
It was a little improvement in the last part of the summer, yes.
Yeah.
We start kind of a very wet, but I think now we're good.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I got lucky. We went camping for 4 days. Since the first time I've camped in like 25 years and not a drop of rain.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good.
You went camping, you mean like basic?
In a tent.
Yeah?
We went,
Nice.
yeah, but I didn't sleep on the ground. She had cots and a foam mattress for the cot.
That
And a
was my
kitchen
next question.
tent.
How's your back?
It's not bad. It's what really sore my thighs and my arms because I'm not used to using them as much. We did
Yeah.
canoeing and waterboard and swimming and lots of walking. So
Oh, good for you. That's awesome.
yeah, it was fun.
So
Bon
that
Echo.
was, I guess after the fifth glass of wine, 11 o'clock at night, you sleep like a baby, eh?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hello, Carol.
Good morning.
Hello.
And
Good morning.
hello, Bob.
Good morning.
Good. Hi, Carly. Okay, guys. I think we are 3 minutes after 11. Let's try to have this meeting kind of a. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yep, yeah.
You can see it?
There it is.
Fantastic. All right. Let's try to make this interactive. So if anybody wants to jump in and give their thoughts, you guys are very welcome. Okay. And sorry.
Sorry. That was me telling my son to turn the TV down, but I shut
Oh.
the door.
No worries. No worries. All right. Perfect. Okay, guys. So let's start the meeting today. Let's try to make this as easy and probably we should be good in about 30, 40 minutes here. Just a couple things we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about some of the accepted deals, deposit and aborted transactions. Some of these deals that they are being conditional, they we don't get them into the office. So meaning that we don't know where these deals are going or if they're being aborted or not. So that's probably one of the most important things that the admins are telling me that we should communicate this to the agents. Then we want to talk a little bit about the market sentiment, a little bit about the office activity, which actually goes hands in hands with what's happening in the market. We want to talk about a little bit of the HPI. I got a couple agents, they asked me that they never use it because they don't know what this even means. So I know majority of you guys know exactly what's going on. I'll show you how I use it. to support my conversations on a listing presentation or when we want to put a price in a property, especially when these agents they going to list a home that the seller purchased at a really peak of the pandemic in 2022. So now they have a hard time to understand what the real price is. So that's what the HPI is really, really important. Okay, this home price index. Then very excited to introduce you to the new Casora hub. So now, for example, before, if you want to log in into ITSO, TREB, Hamilton tax calculation, even to the Casora Drive or any other website that you actually use, you need like 5, 6, or 7 browsers open in your computer. Now you just need one browser, which is going to be just the Casora hub. And okay, so this is let's start talking about these deals that they are conditional. Okay, so the office must receive every accepted agreement. So if you have an offer that never got to an accepted agreement, then it's okay. The deal was dead at some point, but you never got to an accepted agreement with the buyer or the seller. So what is happening? Some accepted conditional agreement remains only in the agent's folder until they become firm. And then we receive it once it's firm. But this is not ideal, okay? If the deal does not firm up, administration might never know that existed, right? And unfortunately, we need to have it in the office, in a folder, and when it's aborted, we will post it as aborted. The required standards: send the accepted agreement immediately. Do not wait for conditions to be fulfilled. Some of these conditions take 7 days, 8 days. Your client already, if you're a buyer, your client already sent a deposit. So many things happen here already in these transactions, but we don't know anything of this. So it's really important that we receive that. In the case that you have an accepted offer, is conditional, and something happened in the middle, you have a conflict, you have a problem. Now you call Bob. Bob, how can I solve this? We have this problem with mold and the inspection on the. Say, what deal? We don't have it at the office. So do yourself a favor, help yourself, help the brokerage, and send all the deals, even if they are conditional. You don't have to send it immediately, but you after 24 hours you will send the deposit the deposit to the other brokerage. As soon as you send the deposit, send all the paperwork, the deal sheet with a deposit, with all the documents and everything. With in the deal sheet says it's conditional until when. So there is a reason why we have that there. This deal is firm or conditional, right? So this is really important. Accepted means submitted. Then keep the office updated. So number one, the agreement is accepted. A binding agreement exists even while conditional. Number two, send it immediately. Emails the administration and place it in the office file. Confirm the deposit, deliver it, or confirm receipt according to the agreement. And report the outcome. Was firm, was amended, was expired, was terminated, or aborted. And then our office will do whatever we need to do. We report it, we file, and we keep it on the file for future reference, okay? Never hold an accepted condition deal until it becomes firm. This is really important.
Fernando, I'd like to add just one item to that. As Fernando mentioned, we need that for administration to run smoothly, but there's an even more important reason. If you have a conditional deal and don't submit it to the office, if there's a problem on either end and Rico gets involved and asks for a file and we don't have the file, you already have a major strike against you, because the office has to advise Rico we don't have a file. And then the fault is immediately the agents for not having submitted it, and you're starting in a hole rather than starting on even ground. So for everybody, especially your own benefit, deals must be submitted immediately.
So this is mandatory from the office and from Rico and from Bob. Good stuff. Anybody has something to say here? Anybody has a question? Okay, so let's move on to the market. We had a really slow market in July. Home sales were down 11%, new listings 17%, and month of supply we're still at 4.6%, down from 4.8%. Now, what this means? This means that uh, obviously July is always slow. The way is January, but we have a little less inventory. So this is something that is kind of it doesn't help the sellers, but balance a little bit the downturn of this month with the supplies. For buyers, we have more negotiation room remains. I got a couple of buyers that they successfully they purchased something because the sellers they're still kind of in a fragile situation where if they don't accept these offers that they are probably I think we're running now at 96% of asking price. So if the house is being priced correctly, you can still get it for 96%. So, if a house is sold for 800,000, it's not abnormal that you can get it for 760, 750, 755. Before sellers, they were flipping when they see a 750 offer and an $800,000 sale, right? Now sellers, they understanding that this is what we live in right now, unless that is a really exclusive property is unique, and then you have 2 3 people and the price probably below 10% below the asking price. Some of the big firms, because they don't care about the outcome of these deals, I noticed big teams, everybody knows who are the big teams in the area. I have noticed that almost every single listing they price it like 10% below, and they still holding offers, and they still get 1 or 2 offers. Probably if they would have priced correctly, the seller will probably gain better benefits from this. But in this case, these people dealing with these listings, they don't care. They just want numbers. They just want to sell it. So they convince the sellers, okay, let's price it 10% below, and then we want to get better pricing. I don't think that is the results that we get in anyways. And sellers, of course, reduce competition helps, but buyers remains price sensitive and selective. Now, whatever happens on the stats, we've seen it in our office. I think Kerry told me that up to today, we already sold what we sold in the month of July completely. So we are really aligned all the time. Every month, we really align with the stats. We're getting some momentum now. I think this is a time to continue to get in touch with clients, with past clients, with Sphere, with everybody that we have in our database. Whoever doesn't have a database, I insist you should put everybody in the database. If you don't use a smart CRM, which is okay, just keep it in Excel. If not, keep it in a book. If not, keep it somewhere and revise your clients. Keep in touch with them. Invite them for a coffee. Invite them for a conversation. Just keep that conversation going. This is a contact sport, real estate. And if you don't have at least 20 conversations per week about real estate with people, you're not going to do above average. You're just going to get whatever by default. Somebody call you. Somebody says, oh, call so-and-so because he's my friend. I mean, that is okay, but you're only going to have those 5-6 deals per year. If you want to just be a little bit above average, it's not much work that you need to do. It's just be intentional about the conversation, be intentional about the relationship you're building. It's just so important. It's just anywhere you go, just tell them what you do, tell them about real estate, talk about what is going on in the market. People, first thing, as soon as you mention that you work in real estate, you just help people buying and selling and whatever, people says, oh, how's the market? And the first thing people say, oh, the market is great. Oh, the market is moving. That is not the right thing. That is an unprofessional and untrained agent. When somebody asks you, how is the market? The first thing you have to say is, well, that's a great question. Actually, all depends on where you're standing. Are you looking to buy or looking to sell? Which side of the question are you? Then you create a conversation. You create a professional kind of a view on what's going on. If somebody says, the first question people say, oh, how's the market? Because everybody knows that you're a realtor. If you go to an event, a networking event or whatever, a birthday or a wedding, people say, hey, Fernando, how's the market? Oh, actually, it's pretty good. It's moving up. We were terrible last. That's not professional. You said, okay, you know what? That's a great question. Are you thinking of buying right now or selling? Just try to create something that creates a really interesting conversation. Okay, this is really important. Now, use HPI to support, not replace your pricing analysis. Some people will be really stuck on what they have on their mind, and it's okay. With those people, then it's nothing you can do. But the guys, the sellers that they ask for your advice, you can use this and you can use it in your favor. Okay, I use HPI probably in every single presentation, and I will give you one example right now that I had last week on Wednesday. I went to visit a client that this house was sold in 2022. I was the listing agent. And then the buyer agent was from a different brokerage. Happens that when I went to bring the key, the seller was from the buyer was from California, and it says, and the buyer's agent says, Fernando, I live in Cambridge. Can you do me a favor? Can you bring the key to the buyers? That was music to my ears. I love to contact the buyer. So I contact the buyer. These people, she's a Canadian lady. The wife, the guy is Mr. Valenzuela, is a gentleman from California, American. And we had a great conversation. He loves cars. I love cars. So we talk about our cars. He was driving a beautiful car, and he showed me the car. We talked about the place, and it was about 10 minutes conversation. We kept in touch once in a while, and they emailed me to see if I could come and see the property because their life just changed and they might have to go back to California. So I went to see them, and we had a conversation. I said, we don't want to deal with the guy that bought our house because he got the check and he never sent us an email. He never sent us the text. He disappeared. So that is the problem. I mean, those are transactional agents. I mean, if you become a transactional agent, how many? And put the hands in your heart. Tell me how many people they sold a house and they never touch base with these buyers or sellers again. How many? If you tell me that you don't do it, you're lying because everyone does it. We sold a house 15 years ago and never touch base with these people, never communicate with these people again. And that is exactly what happened to this agent, right? I kept in touch with them. Every year, I send them Merry Christmas, anniversary for the anniversary from the thing. But they allow me to do that because I said, it's okay if I get in touch once in a while. I had this opportunity. But I'm talking about just your past clients, your sphere, and these kind of people, right? So I show you now how I use this HP, okay? So this is the cornerstone. You have it on Treb as well, okay? It's very much the same. So we purchase this condo. So you have to put the area, of course. I put Hamilton in the top left, you see it. You can choose any area you want. And then you can choose if it's a single family, townhouse, condo. In this case, was a condo. And then you have per square foot. You can get really granular about bedrooms and whatnot. So I just went with condo style. I put the price range and that's it. So really, when you observe here, actually they paid $849. Okay, and it was very much dead on. Sometimes can be perfect, sometimes it's not perfect, but more or less you will get the entire HPI from the years that you choose from. I chose here from 2021 because they bought in 2022. So for me, it was very important that they see when they bought it. You see, if they bought it a year before, they would have bought around 600,000. But here they paid 858. Okay, so that was what's happening back then. And then I said to the guys, see, this is the way I started the presentation. Guys, let me show you what happened since you purchased this home. And actually, I show you a little bit before you purchase. And then when I show them this, you bought it actually right here. They bought it in July, so they bought it around here. But let's say this is when you arrived to Canada. And the girl goes and grabs her head and goes, oh, Lord. Like right away, I didn't even have to tell them what I think the price is. So then you can go and say, listen, this is what is the average right now, 610. Okay. Now, because I use this constantly, I know very well how to go around and I use it in my favor. I mean, I will recommend that you do a couple of mock-up prices and areas and this kind of stuff. And in this case, I said to them, okay, and then you can say how many new listings, right? So when they bought it was 247 listings. Now we have 759. So everything was against them, right? How many sold? Here we have 79 sold, and now it's 1,323. As you see, everything is bad. Days in the market in 2022 was 6 days in the market. Right now, 29 days in the market. So they will keep grabbing their head saying, oh, Lord, everything was wrong in 2022 compared to now, or now compared to 2022. But who knew that from 2022, you would have this kind of a free fall, right? So, and then I say, okay, but not everything is bad, because this includes condos between 548 and less, 549, 689, 699, and whatnot. So let's see your price point, which was around here, or these two very much, right? So let's go to that one, where the condos that they were above 700,000 didn't suffer as much as the condos that they were 400,000. So if they purchase, let's say, somebody, the HPI gives me a 780, and now we are at 770, that is when you figure out that it didn't suffer that much. So at the end of this presentation, again, the days in the market is still very much the same thing. It was 6 days and now 23. So at the end of the, 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 the presentation of this HPI, I said to them, okay, based on what I show you, what do you think that it should be? What is the price? She says, well, I don't know, 799. And they pay 730, they pay 839, right? I said, well, you know what? I think probably we can try a little higher. So the sellers themselves, they start telling you what is the reality. Sometimes when you come just with comps, and if you start the conversation, okay, guys, the market was really bad in 2022. So I think whatever happens now, according to the comparable, we can sell this for 7,799. They might say, okay, thank you. We have to interview more agents. But if you come with all this data, you look so professional. You look like you know your stuff. You're not inventing or creating numbers from thin air. You just tell them, listen, you tell me what do you think according to this if you want to move this. So this is really important, really, really important. Anybody has any questions about this?
No,
Anyway,
it was great.
if you guys know where to find it and you know how to use it, great. If you don't, come to the office. More than happy to sit with you. We do a couple of mock-up examples, and I show you how I present this. It's very straightforward. As soon as you know how to, move these things around, it's okay. If it's a family home, this is what's happening at family homes. And if you're selling a house that is more than 2,500 square feet, you go there, and so on, right? You have less data because you have less amount of homes and the level. And then you can put how many years you want, all this kind of stuff, right? Okay. So that's very much for the HPI, very straightforward. It's a little formula here. I'll share this with you guys if you want, so you can see, the formula that you can use to determine the price. Because you will have an original sale, you will have what's going on now, and then if you put the previous sales, the current HPI, divide the HPI, the previous sale, that's going to give you more or less an average. But at that point, I think you don't need to be that kind of a exact number. But if you see that in 2022 was selling for 839, now they're selling for 800, you can more or less guess, okay, why don't we go 819 instead of 839 or 849 or 859? Okay, every market, every type of home would be a little bit different. Okay. Again, make the HPI a simple and proof point in your listing presentation. Establish the reference, show the direction that this is going, explain whether the index is moving up, is moving down, and how and by how much. Translate into the index. So apply the change to prior sale and incredible reference property, and reconcile for today. Simple. Okay, so we are very excited now, guys, to present you with the Casora Hub. It's one place for every website and resource you use every day. So before, the way you do business, you have to have in your top browser, if you use whatever you use, if you use Chrome or any other browser. You will have to have open Trap, and if you use ITSO, you open another browser for ITSO. And if you want to open a Hamilton tax calculation, you open another website, and if you that and so on and so on. Or if you want to claim some of your health benefits because you went to the dentist, you got to open another browser, and you got to remember where this browser was, what was the website domain, and whatnot. So we create something for everyone. So you have one browser in your computer, and from there you can go everywhere, including our Casora drive with all the resources as well. Okay. So let me just show you what this look like. I will send you an email with the website. It's hub.casorarealty.ca. Okay. This has another, so everything you need in one place. So let me show you here. For example, here you have access to Trep, to ITSO, to those guys that use Lofty. You have access to Lofty. You have the Casora Drive, Leading RE, commission savings. If you wanna bring and help to grow the brokerage, you just send them the commission saving here as well. We have a commission calculator. I don't know if you guys know this commission calculator. We're very proud that we are probably the brokers, they always make more money. So if somebody makes, let's say the average commission is 17,000, and somebody makes 10 deals a year, and if you are, for example, I don't know, to a Real or EXP or even Royal LePage, that's the splits that they have. Best fee, I think they pay 220 per month. Franchise fees, I think per deal, I met this week somebody from Royal LePage, which is 2%. They charge extra in every deal. So out of 17,000, I think she told me it was like $350 or something like that. I could be up and down, just to give an idea. So you just calculate, and this is what is the results. With other brokerage, you will net 137,000, and with us, you will net 163,000. So that will be saving coming to Casora of 25,432. Okay. We're still very much the best value for all the resources that we offer in the market. So if you like to invite agents to come in, remember that we have revenue share, that every deal fee that this new agent will pay, you will get 20% referral fee. Okay. So you help us to grow, we help you. And this is really simple. Now, here we add RICO website, Hamilton tax calculator, and now we incorporate FinTrack as well, and policies and agent training. Now, as you know, now it's mandatory to have an in-house agent training for FinTrack. This is mandatory. We have no option. So what we have done a really simple, really practical, and really fast training, 12 modules that you can go through. It's really simple, very much. It's 1 page per module, 2 pages. You can run with this probably in 20 minutes or 15 minutes per page. Now we have to have some sort of a proof that you did it. Do not go yet and do it. Bob and Carol has to approve these policies in place. Once we have it, probably next week, you'll be able to start doing these modules. I show you, for example, what this looks like. Module 1, FinTrack foundations and the duties. Okay. So you will start reading first the PDF that we have about the policies. Once you read that, you will have a really easy understanding of what's going on here. Responses are multiple choice, similar to the one you have on the app, the FinTrack app or RICO. And for example, here, who is responsible for Casora compliance obligations? And you got the 4 choices. You respond. At the end of each module, you have to put your name, your signature, when you complete it, and please send this to the front office. Again, I know this is really getting to be too much for agents, so many things that we have to do. Unfortunately, this is mandatory. Every single brokerage have to have this policy in place and agent training, and we have to have some sort of a proof that you did it. I made it as simple as possible for you. It's very much 1 page per module. You will have probably the entire year to go through this. which is going to take you probably 10-15 minutes per page. Okay, there's no grading in this. You just go, answer the questions, and acknowledge, sign, and send it to us. Okay, really, really simple.
Fernando,
Yes.
just a question. We just completed with Rico a
Yes.
FinTrack compulsory thing. Is
Yes.
this the same thing, different? Is it a duplicate? Like I
Yes.
just finished doing it. I don't know. Like,
Yes.
is this compulsory from Rico or like?
It's very much the same now. Brokers, they have another mandatory that we have to have it within the agents, training within the agents. Yeah, you wanna explain this, Carol?
Yeah, FinTrack itself requires that every brokerage has a compliance program in place, which includes ongoing training of agents and staff. And that's why we've had to put this in place. And we have to prove that this is the case. Brokerages are being fined thousands and thousands of dollars if they don't have this kind of thing in place. It's crazy. So as Fernando said, he's tried to make it as straightforward and as simple and less onerous as possible, but this is a requirement, unfortunately.
Peter,
we
this.
still
Sorry,
do
Peter.
the Rico one, right? Like the Rico one says we have to do that.
Yes.
Yes.
So we
Correct.
do that one and this one. Okay, that's
Yeah.
only because I just finished it. I thought, okay, here it was hard
You
to
thought
understand.
you were done. You thought you were done. Yeah.
The advantage, Peter.
ongoing- Sorry.
Go ahead.
The ongoing is the operative word there. It has to be ongoing training.
Okay, that's good. Thank you, Carol.
Okay.
Peter, by the way, if you already done the FinTrack, again, will take you probably 10 minutes per page. I say you have a year to do it, but probably you can do it because you did it already. These are really easy questions. So unfortunately, it's mandatory. It's a pain on the butt, I know, but it's something that we have to do. And on top of that, they force us to review these policies in place every single year. It's really terrible because they make us to be their police people. You know what I mean? It's not supposed to be our job, but it is somehow. And this is something that Carol, me, Bob, we are not happy about what these people do. Bob says that they're looking into find somebody else responsible for these other than agents and brokers, because if we don't have these policies in place and they come and they look at what we have, we can be fined up to 100,000. If we have one little fine 100,000, we have to close the brokerage. Simple as that. So we have to have this thing in place, unfortunately, but it is what it is. So let me just show you how to access this. So again, you have all the quick access here. For example, you want to log into TREP, you just click there, click in this one, and it will bring you to your dashboard of whatever the app that you're using. If it's ITSO, it will take you there. Of course, you have to log in with your own login. Once you log in once, probably it will recognize everything that you do. And insurance, for example, for a claim, that's your page for insurance. Everything's working fine. If you got to pay your RICO, actually, we have a few people that they have an outstanding payment with RICO as well for insurance. Please be mindful of this. I think maybe Bob's going to touch in that. And then tax calculator as well. Now, if you find that you need another quick access that everybody can benefit from, not just one person, let me know and I will add it here as well, okay? I think I might add here the Google email and the Outlook. So really, you only need one browser, okay? And then on the bottom here, on the bottom of this hub, you will have all the stuff that we have, all the forms, all the agents' resources. And again, this you will click and will take you there, okay? So for example, if you want to go to schedules, you just click on the schedules and it will take you to the drive. So it will be really, really easy. Now you're not confused. Where should I go? What browser should I open? So this is something that will simplify in the morning when you go into the computer and you want to go to any of these sites. Broker base here too, so you can book appointments from here. And then we have Leading RE as well. Now, I know some people don't use Leading RE yet. Um, we have a lot of material there that covers a lot of training. I'll recommend that now that you have it there, you manage you if you can manage to go around, see what's going on here. The training modules here are really good. We have webinars that they are really incredible webinars. You have the dates coming up here. This one here, the mindset session with Rebecca, they're fantastic webinars. And then you have pre-recorded webinars too as well. To log into RE, you will need a special code that every agent has, and we shared this many times before. But if you don't have it, send me an email and I will share the code with you guys. That's very much it for the hub. Hopefully you can use it, enjoy it, and now you have one browser open in your computer and you can have access to everything. And again, if you find that there is something that I'm missing here that is important that every agent should have here as a quick access, let me know. More than happy to add it. Okay. Okay. And then and now this is Bob's corner. If Bob, you want to take it over, that would be great.
In the last 3 weeks, we've had a lot of questions about who should be signing listings and agreements. So I just want to go over that and then answer any questions that you might have. The question of who should be signing what is very important, both legally and professionally. Sometimes there's a temptation, well, just have everyone and their brother sign because then we'll be sure not to miss anyone. But that can create legal implications that you never intended. So that's definitely not the answer. So the basic question, who needs to sign a listing? Well, the easy answer is whoever is on title to the property needs to sign, which means you need to determine who's on title. The best way to determine that is through Geo Warehouse, provided there hasn't been any very recent changes. But it's definitely the place to start. So if the people who are on title are both alive and legally competent to sign, then they should sign for themselves. If they have Alzheimer's, dementia, or if there's any indication that they do not or might not comprehend what they're signing, even if you could get them to sign, you can't have them sign because those people cannot create a legally binding contract. So even if it's signed, it may not be valid and can too easily be challenged. So the other case is if somebody simply isn't present. They're overseas and there's some place where fax machines and computers aren't common, then you may need somebody else to sign. So in all of those situations, the easiest and most common way is to ask someone if they have power of attorney. If that's not the case, especially if there's a competency issue or you're talking to someone and they're repeating themselves, they don't seem to understand what you're talking about, talk to a family member. And if they don't have power of attorney, then recommend that they do a competency assessment. The doctors, the healthcare people will do that. Of course, like everything else, it does take some time, but there really is no alternative. If there is a power of attorney, you need to get a copy of the power of attorney. Someone telling you, oh, I've got power of attorney for my dad is absolutely not sufficient. You must see the thing and you must see that it's valid. If you are not 100% plus sure that it's valid, then run it by Fernando or me, and we can tell you whether it's valid or whether additional questions need to be asked. If there is a power of attorney, there are several ways it could be written. It could be my power of attorney is my daughter Mary, or it is my daughter Mary and my son Paul. And then you have to look for very important words, jointly or severally. Jointly meaning they both must sign, and severally meaning either one, and it could be one of two or one of five, it could be anything. Any of them can sign. If you run into those situations, definitely ask, and we'll tell you what the best course of action is. Even if one person can legally sign because it's joint or several, you should still get acknowledgement or agreement from the other people just to avoid all kinds of unnecessary grief down the road. But when in doubt, ask someone. Don't make assumptions because that invariably goes wrong. The general rule is if it's jointly, then everybody needs to sign as power of attorney for that individual. So if Mr. Smith, if Mary and Paul are joint powers of attorney, then both of them have to sign for their dad, not one or the other, but both. And they both sign more or less on the same line of the document. It's a little easier now to squish them all in with DocuSign and Authentisign than it used to be doing everything by hand. If an estate is involved, of course, there are all kinds of probate issues. We won't get into that right now, but assuming that that part of it's been done, then you need the executor or executors to sign. Remember, a power of attorney ceases upon death. So if someone has a power of attorney for their parent or their uncle or their brother or anybody, once that person dies, the power of attorney dies with them. It is no longer valid, not even for 1 minute past the time of death. It then passes to the estate, and then an executor is appointed. And an executor can be the same way, joint and several, or one or the other. So again, you need a copy of the will. You don't need the entire will necessarily. Some people will just give you the whole thing. That's fine, because there can be a lot of personal things in there as well. But you need the front page. You need the first page of the document saying who's executor, and you need at least the signature page and what's called the attestation page that says, yes, I was there when the person signed it. And then 2 independent people also have to witness that. And the same is true for a power of attorney. Typically for a power of attorney, you do need the entire document because there could be a restriction. So on page 1, it may say, I appoint Mary and Paul to be my power of attorney. And then page 3 will say, and they can do anything that I could do except sell my property. Imagine how useful that would be to know if you're trying to list their property. So you do need to read the power of attorney. If you are not sure, ask us. If we are not sure, then we will refer you to either our lawyer or the family's lawyer, because we cannot leave anything uncertain in those situations because the legal implications are too big. So assuming that we know who's on title, then the question arises, if it's a matrimonial home, who has to sign? Well, the answer is fairly easy, except it's not, and people tend to complicate it. So a matrimonial home means there is a matrimony. The parties are married. So if a spouse, husband and wife, live in the house, the wife, the woman, is the only one on title, or in cases where there's 2 women, whatever, and only one is on title, the other spouse must sign a spousal consent because they have matrimonial rights to that home. And they have to say, yes, I agree the house can be listed. Same on the agreement of purchase and sale. Now, this is the important part. That only applies if they are married. Married meaning married, lawfully married, whether it be in church or city hall or whatever, legally married. There's a very, very common misconception that's been around forever that if people are common law and they have lived together for more than 2 years, they are considered legally married. That is false, and those people do not have matrimonial rights. They may have lots of other rights, but they do not have matrimonial rights. And the spousal consent only concerns matrimonial rights. So they may have all kinds of financial issues between them. Fortunately, none of those are our concern, because if they are not legally married, only the person on title is required to sign. Now, again, agents say, well, I'm just going to have them sign it anyways, because that way they can't cause me grief. The exact opposite is true, because they have no legal matrimonial rights. And what you've just done is pretend to give them matrimonial rights. And if they then claim against their spouse and say, well, even the realtor thought that I had rights, so I should have rights. And now you've introduced rights and obligations that may never have been intended to be created. So the simple, let's have everybody sign because it's easier and safe, is absolutely not true, and it's dangerous. So you need to know their status, and you cannot be shy about asking. So someone says, well, this is my spouse. That's wonderful. The question is, are you legally married? And you may get, well, yes or no, or whatever the answer is. You need to keep asking the question until you are 100% sure, are they legally married or not? They can have lived together for 70 years. If they are not legally married, there are no matrimonial rights. So very, very important to know. You don't want to create the liabilities, and you can't say, well, I didn't know. That's a shame. You're the professional. You need to know, and you cannot cause grief, because remember, we're the ones with insurance. If someone's got a problem, the one they're coming after is us, because we have insurance, and the insurance company never goes to court. They always settle. So as soon as there's a claim, unless it's completely bogus, you're going to be paying the deductible. So we don't want to create those situations. And the $2,500 is not the end of the world, because that's the deductible. Going through 3 years of the process, that's the end of the world, and you do not want to be involved in those situations. So any questions on legal capacity, who signs when, and whatever?
Yes, I do have one question for each of the points that you mentioned. Number one, if I list a home where the seller is not capable of signing, and then the daughter has the power of attorney, I list the house with the power of attorney, no problem. 2 weeks in, because this happened to me, 2 weeks into the process, the person dies, pass away, and now the power of attorney is not good anymore. Now this home is listed right now, for example, and now they have to start the probate. Now, what happened with this listing in the meantime? Do we have to remove the listing from MLS? Can we continue until this probate is done? One thing is what we do, and the other thing what we should have done.
Okay, so the listing agreement and all agreements say, I think it's the very last paragraph, says that it is bound by all assigns and executors and whatever the wording is. So the listing itself is still valid because it was valid when it was signed, provided you followed all the correct steps. So the listing is still valid. The problem is, if you get an offer, you can't accept it without knowing who the executor is. So the first thing to do in that situation is to have somebody give you a copy of the will, and you hope that the executor is the same person as the power of attorney. That's not a free pass, but it's a necessary first step, because if the executor is different, you're going to have to get in touch with the executor right away. Now, the listing is still valid and you are not obligated to release it, but the executor is the one that then has to sign the agreement of purchase and sale. And if they're not going to agree, then you've got a different situation, but we'll leave that aside. But the listing is still valid. You don't have to take it down, but you may not be able to accept an offer, and that's a problem. So in most cases, it's necessary to suspend it until such time as the executor is determined and you can sell it. Remember, you don't have to have probate completed, but you do need to know who you're dealing with and have them apply for probate right away so that you can put in a normal period for the probate clause and then move forward. But the dangerous thing is assuming the executor is the same person, because that may or may not be true. And the wording, the joint and several wording, may be different on a power of attorney than it is as executor. I ran into one of those last week. So again, ask the question, please, because it's a very important one.
Anybody has more question for this point? Okay, so for the second point, I'm going to a listing appointment. I meet with Mary, and Mary said, I'm the only one entitled. And I said, perfect, we want to go ahead and do the listing agreement. And now I say, is anybody else that needs to sign here? She says, no, I'm the only one entitled. That's it. Now she hide that she's married. How can I prove that she's married or not? Because here is a little issue. Sometimes if they have a bad divorce or something, or something's going on, I mean, on closing, I know the lawyers will find out what's going on, because the lawyer will make sure that you are divorced, not divorced, if it's an agreement or not. But at the point of a listing, I've been lying to. So because she doesn't understand the consequences of this.
Right. So the first step is before you go on any listing appointment, you need to look at Geo Warehouse and see who's on title. Now,
Yes.
if they are married, but only one of them is on title, you really don't know. But you
Exactly.
just have to be somewhat astute. You look, and are there photographs? If it's a bad divorce, there may not be any photographs.
Thank
But you
you.
ask,
Or clothes, yeah.
or anything. So you ask, do you have any children? Just in normal conversation. And what about the children's father or your spouse? And they will tell you, oh, he passed away, or we're not together anymore. Then you ask the question, did you ever live in this home together? I'm assuming the person's still alive. You have to ask as many questions as you need to ask, and there may have to be follow-up appointments or meetings. Or if you're still in doubt at the end, you may need a letter or an affidavit from their lawyer saying that Mary and John are separated, the spousal rights were settled in the divorce, and I certify that Mary at this time can sign the listing as sole owner. What you're doing is offloading the responsibility to the lawyer, who presumably has more information than you do. But you need to be confident that you have the correct information, because if you assume or guess and you are wrong, there are very, very serious implications. And if you let somebody sell a property out from someone who has matrimonial rights, guess where they're coming to get their share, and it's out of your pocket and our
So
insurers.
put everything in an email communication. Hey, Mary, as you mentioned before, you're the single person to sign this listing agreement. You have nobody else to sign here. This is not a matrimonial home. As you mentioned, we want to follow up with pictures certain day, whatever. So put everything in written and in a communication email, so you can have some sort of a proof here, right?
Absolutely. And that applies across the board.
Correct.
And any claim they make, or anything they tell you or want you to know, you confirm it in an email to them. Hopefully they'll say, yeah, you're right, or yes, I agree. That's great. But even if not, if you send someone an email like that and they don't say, oh, no, that's not true, or I didn't say that, the fact that you sent it and it wasn't denied does count as proof. It's way better if they acknowledge, and you can say, please acknowledge the above. That sort of encourages a response, and you might get a yep. That's super valuable. But if they don't deny it, then it's almost as good, but not quite.
Yeah, normally what I do now, if anybody wants to take this little advice, at the end of these emails, when I need to have it in written, normally what I do now, I said, okay, as soon as you confirm all this information that I put here above, I will go ahead and book the pictures. And normally that does it. They answer right away.
Yeah, or you put it like you say, you put a question in there, are we okay to go ahead on Tuesday with the photos? And now you've got a response. ostensibly to the whole email, but at least you know that they've received it. You sometimes have to do that with tenants in very difficult situations as well. You have to serve a tenant and they're trying to ignore everyone, and you say, oh, I've got mail for you, what am I supposed to do with it? And so they won't acknowledge that you filed with the tribunal, but they'll tell you where to send the mail, but simultaneously they're confirming that they got the email about the tribunal hearing. So sometimes you have to be a little bit clever, but the primary rule is, when in doubt, verify and definitely document. Same thing. Oh, I recall that during our meeting, you told me that your home was the only one on the street that didn't flood on August 4th, 2014. Just want to know if you have any documentation or further verification of that, like whatever. Because now when you say, no, the home isn't flooded, it's based on what you got from them, not you trying to pander off the house that was under 4 feet of water.
Bob?
Okay.
Bob?
Yep.
No, you're quite right. And as you know, I just went through this jointly and severally thing, and it was $1.8 million deal, so it was a nice sale. But when it went to the lawyer, he said, no, everything is great. Power of attorney, the oldest daughter has it. That's great. But now you need to go back to the listing, because it's great that she signed it, but the dad's alive. He's in a home and he must be on the listing. And you have to put Mr. Fred Smith by Peter Smith acting as power of attorney but just putting her name down as power of attorney, his name has to be on there. He's not signing anything. But that detail was a big deal to the lawyer. So not a problem. We went and we did it. But whether he's competent or not, the deed is in his name. He built the home. He has to be on the listing on that first page. It's crazy how these details, they really get excited over these kinds of things.
Well, but he's not being picky, because you raise a good point. When you do a listing under a power of attorney, the name on the listing is the person who's on title. It's only the signature that is the power of attorney. So some people get carried away and they put John Smith by his power of attorney, Mary Smith. That in fact is not necessary. Just what the John Smith is fine. And then on the signature, it's Mary Smith, power of attorney, or power of attorney for John Smith. But her name does not need to go on the seller line. The same as if you're selling an estate property, the seller is the estate of, not the estate of by Mary Smith, executor. You don't need all of that. That's the implication by the signature. So the lawyer's
exactly
correct.
right.
The person on title is the
and
person.
you know what? It's all the learning. But here's one for you, because I just came across this week, and I suggested that he goes to his lawyer. Have any of you dealt with, because it ties in to what we're doing here, there's 4 children, one is passed. The parents who have several properties in Florida, 100 acres up north, their own house here, 3 cottage properties up there, they left the whole thing in the hands of a bank trustee. There is no executor. It's a bank trustee. So the young man and his 3 sisters said to the trustee, bank trustee, we would like Peter Milovanovich to sell our house. And the trustee said, well, that's not your decision to make. So I just said, you know what? I can't advise you on this. Go to a lawyer. But all 4 children said that they've already received bills up to $55,000 for billable hours by the trustee. The family has a fair amount of wealth, but I've never really heard of a family either not trusting or whatever of their children and actually putting everything in the hands of a trustee in a bank. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
Absolutely, and they will bill till the cows come home. The 55 is the tip of the iceberg. It will only get worse from there, and there is virtually no recourse. There are set fees, executors, even if their family members, can charge the estate a fee. They typically don't, but they can. But a professional trustee will charge to the max, and the numbers are phenomenal, as you've seen. But that's only the start. It's going to get worse from there.
Yeah, I just never heard of it before, and even outside of real estate. But he said that every month there's just more money being taken out by them in billable hours, and he says he doesn't see anything being done. So again, I don't want. I'm stepping outside of my wheelhouse, so I'm saying, you know what? Go to your lawyer. You have one. Ask him for advice. Move forward. You know how to reach me if you need me. But I was just quite astounded that in a matter of 1 month, they've taken 55,000 already. I didn't say anything to them other than advise them for a lawyer. But I came back home and I said to my wife, don't ever leave anything to any trustees in a bank.
No. And that person will have a realtor that they use, and they will get kickbacks or referrals from those people. So
Is that legal, Bob?
That doesn't mean it won't happen.
Oh, well, anyway, neither here nor there. I wish them all the best, but this was a first trustee one for me.
Yeah. No, it's bad news. Some people put specifically in their will that it is not to be handled by a trustee company or a lawyer.
Well, there you go. More learning.
Okay, guys. Any other question? Could be about this subject or something else that you have in your mind, something that remained unanswered about real estate. Just this is your opportunity.
I have a few
I got
stats
one.
if anybody wants them.
Where's Nicole? Is she
Nicole,
off now?
She's on.
Oh,
She was.
so Nicole, my niece and her fiance out of the blue said, we're off. We're going to Nova Scotia. So they're there for a minimum of a year. They're renting a place, but they say, we want to live there. And it just came to me now. They're in a place called Shubencadia.
no, I think it should just hop off the meeting.
Oh, it sounds like she might be on another call.
Actually,
Okay, it's okay. I'll talk to her later, but there's a funny story behind it, but I'm not going to do it right now when we've already been an hour. So
yes, we are.
thank you, everybody.
Okay, I
Thank you
have
very
two
much.
quick stats just for fun as I've been sitting here processing deals. Fernando is right. We've now had more firm deals in August than we had in July, and it's only the 17th of the month, so keep them coming. And we just hit $1 million in sales volumes for 2026.
100 million.
Nice.
Yep.
Lastly, I just want to congratulate Peter and Shannon Lorio for the largest sales this month on the neighborhood of $2 million. This is incredible, especially when you guys are in 100% commission. This is what nothing makes me more happy than this. Just $450 in your case, or $500 to the brokerage, and you guys help us to grow, and your families, I know that they're very, very happy about this. And then for the most amount of listings between Bob, Jim Curran, and Gus, you guys had about 7 listings, very much equally amount. This is 3 people having 7 listings. This is incredible, guys. So we have so much to offer. Our brokerage sells homes every single day. We are a very high producing company. So the intention is just to improve with all the tools, with all the support. And if you guys have something in your mind that we should improve, or an idea that can help any other agents, we're very welcome to receive them, okay? We want to do the possible to improve. We want to do the possible to get better. And thank you very much for coming to the meeting.
Also the zone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay,
Thank you.
guys. Cheers.
Bye, guys.